Welcome to Around the Reel with your hosts, Aaron Carlson, Charles Lawson, and Samantha Hannah. Ah, shit. Here we go again.
I wonder if she can hear us.
She can. She's almost smiling, so I think she can hear. She can see us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We hear you great.
Good. Okay.
Perfect.
Good.
You are.
Now, before we start, let me ask you this: can you only see Aaron, or can you see Sam as well?
I see everybody.
Yay!
Perfect.
She's got the setup. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, we had a couple of interviews where it's like, oh, you could have swiped to the other side and been able to see everybody.
Oh, that's
Well, good.
Well, hello there.
Nice to meet you guys.
You too. How are you doing today?
I'm recovering. Let's say that.
Uh-oh. What are you?
Heavy night of drinking.
Well, we just closed the in-person festival Sunday night. So
That's right. That ended on what, the 28th?
Still pretty tired,
Yeah.
but we're starting our our online festival tomorrow.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The nice thing about
Busy.
online festivals, though, if you turn your screen off, clothing optional. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as an executive director of a film festival, what does that entail? What do you got to do?
Pretty much everything.
Great. Yeah. Sounds like my job on set.
No, I do have I'm basically the only staff, but we have a lot of people that we contract with to, help us with, our public relations, our social media, our website, all of that stuff. I have a program director that's based in Los Angeles that helps with our feature selections,
Okay.
and I have a working board that works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do they vote? You vote on that board of people?
Are they elected, you mean?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah. Are
Yeah,
they
yeah.
elected people? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's 11 currently.
Okay.
And I have an advisory board of about 13, and they are called upon for different things as needed basis. And then I also have an army of what we call screeners or jurors to help us with the short film selections.
Mm-hmm.
So
You can't possibly watch them all, could you?
No, in fact, I don't watch them all. I only watch the films that get advanced to the final round.
Okay.
And I'm not really. I have a vote, sort of, but I'm not really. I'm kind of the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay. I got it. I got
Actually,
it.
the final selection committee is the one that determines the shorts that are and they have some say in the features. Our program director actually curates the features, and then they kind of get passed on to have a look at our committee, and then they decide. Because there were so many, we couldn't put them all in. We're limited by the number of amount of time we've got at our theater, screen time.
Right.
Sure.
That was something I was going to ask. If over time, have you gotten flooded with entries?
Yeah, more so. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but especially with the features. I mean, that is really kind of surprising because it's so hard, for women to get a feature made.
Yeah.
But this year we had, I think there were like at least 2 or 3 that we would like to have had in the festival, and so we're moving them to other places.
You couldn't fit,
good.
that you weren't able to fit in this one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
Because the theater we use, the art house here in town, is the Pickford Film Center. It's a great little independent art house, and we've partnered with them. They're not really our partner. They're not our home host theater, but we only have so much screen time. They give up their large theater for the entire run of the festival, 4 days, the prime days.
Wow.
Right.
The distributors really want for their films.
Yeah.
So it's and that's we just can get in. So many can't do it 24 hours a day.
Right.
I guess you could, but I don't know.
Maybe sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
well, now that
I'm
we're
up for a 1 a.m. film, but
Yeah.
Sometimes.
now that we're getting a hint of your crazy life, why don't you take a second here and tell our audience? By the way, welcome to Around the Reel.
Welcome,
welcome
everybody.
to Around the Reel.
Why don't you take a second really quick and tell our audience who the hell you are and what the hell you do?
Oh, okay, well that would be appropriate, I guess. So my name is Cheryl Crooks, and I am executive director of the Cascadia International Women's Film Festival, which is like I said, we just closed Sunday evening our 4-day in-person festival, and tomorrow, Thursday, starts the online version of the festival. So, yeah. So that's who I am, and that's what we're doing. And I said this at the festival to date. Now with this last festival, we have now shown the films of more than 250 women since we started in 2017. So
That's great.
this is our year.
Nice.
That's great. And you've been doing the online version of it for how long?
Since COVID started.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You know, nobody knew how to do an online thing until COVID started.
Right.
But we were one of the first to go online because when COVID happened, it was 3 weeks before we were scheduled to open. And so we had to do a quick pivot and figure out now what.
Yeah,
and
now what,
I
yeah.
had a really good team of largely younger interns that really, you know, got in there, and we just figured it out. And of course, now it's all different because everybody has an online platform that they can use. SIF does, and we do, and a lot of the major festivals do.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you can use that, you know, and it's something that is it's become something that is not only just for people to watch, but it's become an issue of accessibility because there are people who can't physically go to the theater, right?
Yeah.
So for those people, we're actually providing, the ability for them to be able to see our films, some other way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something a lot of the film festivals are talking about because there has been a little bit of pushback, and understandably so, with a lot of the distributors of the feature films. They don't want to put their features, online. They want them to go streaming, or they want them in the theaters, and they're not really interested in the film festivals, putting them online.
Right.
So some of our features from this year, the narrative features primarily, are not in this online version of the festival.
Oh, okay.
But
And it makes sense because there's so much things pirating and everything else. I mean, once it gets out
yeah,
there.
it does and it doesn't. I mean, there's kind of two sides of the coin on that because on the one hand, I mean, and certainly they want to get it into the theaters, and we want them to be in the theaters. But on the other hand, it is for a lot of our filmmakers, it's greater exposure.
Yeah.
And it's also good marketing for the festival so that people get to know what your festival is about.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're seen all over the United States on our online festival, not just in Washington.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And your exposure's better. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense too.
But I do understand, they're wanting to recoup their investments and all of that. But sometimes it also builds an audience,
True.
The people that either miss it online or don't know how to make it work, or any one number of things. So it's something I think that's going to be up for discussion. I'm attending at the end of this month, as are a lot of other people. The Film Festival Alliance. We have a conference at the end of June with the art houses. It's called Indie FilmX.
Okay.
So it's for independent filmmakers and the independent art houses and the film festivals and some distributors. And I know it's going to be a topic of discussion. So
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's something we've grappled with ourselves as filmmakers.
I bet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I make documentaries myself, and I've struggled, like especially this last one. I wondered, about the film festival journey. We've never tackled it before, and we've wondered, is it better to do that or better to just put it out there distribution wise and get it streaming for people? It's a hard question. I mean, it's hard to say what really is the right right way.
Yeah, you can do it a number of ways, and we cap our views. So a certain number, and we also geo-block, especially, the foreign films don't want you to be, going to Canada or worldwide because they've got, worldwide distribution.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do that, it still serves a purpose, for the exposure. And all of our documentaries features are on the online festival. So I'm kind of thrilled about that, actually.
If you had someone that was coming and wondering what they should do with their film, you as a director of the film festival, what would you say the film festival would entice someone with a film to want to do the film festival as opposed to something else, as opposed to just going distribution or another route?
Yeah, well, you mean in general, or I mean for us, because we're so particular as far as we show only films directed by women.
Yeah. Yeah.
we're creating that exposure and raising that awareness about women directors for everybody, for audiences and the general public at large. That women directors are out there, they are working, they're and they're good,
Yeah,
and
they
they
are.
deserve to be seen.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, and the festival helps to. I think the festival helps. Well, we provide a platform for that.
Yeah. What kind of
That's
an
a
audience
big
does
part.
the festival
Yeah,
bring?
if people can see them, and then they can go find them elsewhere, or they can talk about them. I mean, it's to create that awareness and the interest in those films. And I know there's a big debate about what's happening now, especially with the smaller festivals, and a concern is that there are certain festivals like Sundance, South by Southwest, Tribeca, I think, is one where they're more kind of an industry festival where the films are shown and then they get snatched up by Netflix or Amazon or whoever, and then they're taken off the festival circuit when they have just started.
Right.
Because Sundance is early, Tribeca is early, South by Southwest is early, and there's a whole slew of other festivals that happen, after that. And so it kind of takes them off the circuit so that, you're kind of looking around for, what's left. Although, there's certainly films out there that don't get picked up by Netflix and some of those that deserve an audience, but it's kind of a shame in a way, because it doesn't give some of these films a chance to build audience. I think the film festivals really build audience for a lot of those films before they go into distribution,
Yeah,
Right.
I can see that.
Right.
And I can see the whole argument too, because of course, if you're a distributor, you don't want the film in the festival because you want exclusive, you want it
to it, yeah.
exclusively.
You got money to make.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
trying
that's
and
for
do the
sure.
same thing.
If you're, if you're a producer, the director of the film, and Netflix is out there offering you, buku bucks.
It'd be hard to say no to.
Yeah,
It's
especially
hard
as
to
an
say
indie
no
film.
when you're looking at, what you've got to clear to cover all the costs of making the film. So, you can't
Absolutely.
blame the filmmakers.
No.
It'd be nice if there was a way, though, that they could at least hold the films, until a certain release date, so that some of the other festivals had an opportunity, if they wanted to show them, that they could. Because
Yeah,
as
they
I said,
should
they
do.
could actually help them by
Yeah.
building audience.
Well,
But,
they could work together too, and that would be cool if they would
Yeah.
figure out a
I
way.
don't know, they don't seem too interested.
No, they don't. No, I know it's always a competition thing, but
I could be wrong about that, but I haven't seen that.
no, I don't see that.
Human
either.
nature over the last couple thousand years pretty much guarantees your thought process there.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty
right.
much. Yeah, but it'd be cool if they would. It would be.
Yeah, but you know what's happening is really interesting. I think it's interesting. My son was here from Los Angeles. He's in the film industry, and we were talking about the audience. And I've seen this happen at the art houses too, locally anyway. Is that contrary to what you might expect? Some of the audiences are getting younger. So
yeah.
prior to COVID, the age group was kind of 50s and above that largely went to the art houses and supported those. But that seems to be changing, and I think it's maybe changing a little bit because Gen Xers or whatever are having families, and so movie night is maybe a date night or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great if that's truly happening, but I know that's happening at the Pickford because they have told me that they're seeing a 40s crowd coming in. So that's good news, I think.
Well, we just kind of talked about a similar thing with just, this is totally off topic and completely out there, but it does correlate with what you were saying, but about the younger crowd kind of coming out there in the world, where we were talking about that with politics and how the younger kids are getting more involved, and at the colleges they're having all these arguments and fights about what's going on in the world, and so the younger kids are getting more involved in a lot of things, not just in the movie world, but in the
Right.
politics world too. And
Yeah, well, there's something to be said for community, right?
right.
One thing that's one you were asking us about, the merits of a festival. One thing that we do, we work really hard on 2 areas to build community, not only within our filmmakers, because we're connecting our women filmmakers so that when they leave here, they actually stay in touch with each other, and some of them even have worked together after this festival.
That's dope.
But also, there's something to be said about, when you're experiencing something in a community setting, it's much different than sitting at home and watching it by yourself on the screen. I mean, you can go to a comedy, especially you see that in comedies when you go to the theater. Everybody's laughing and, having a good time, and it tends to be infectious, whereas you're sitting at home, you maybe chuckle and say, oh, that was funny.
Right.
Well, and I
Right.
noticed
Yeah,
that
that's a good
about
point.
film
Great point.
festivals too, is that they are more personal, and you do talk to people at festivals. You talk to people, and like as opposed to going to a theater to watch one of those big
Yeah,
movies,
you
you
get a
don't talk
chance
to
to- you
anybody.
get a chance
just
to network.
You go and
Yeah.
you leave.
Yeah.
You don't talk to people.
So the whole idea is about stimulating discussion.
Yeah.
Even just beyond the film, like one of the films we showed this year, and it's on the online festival. It's a film called Preconceived, and we did I think we did the West Coast premiere of this film. It was at South by Southwest before we showed it. It's only been 3 places. It was in Cleveland, South by Southwest, and we have it. And it's a documentary film about the crisis pregnancy centers.
Oh.
And we had Planned Parenthood came with their executive director, and we had a discussion after the film with the director of the film, as well as the Planned Parenthood director, about the topic. And what was so interesting about the topic, I mean, they did talk about the film, but there were a lot of questions about Washington state law in regards to these centers and how this works and why and how can they do this, and way beyond even what was in the film,
Yeah.
So it was a whole place where there was this discussion that might not otherwise have occurred.
Yeah, that needed to. I mean,
Yes.
that's an important conversation to have, and for people have questions, and where else could they go to ask such questions? So that brings up a subject that wouldn't normally be just brought up.
And that's exactly
That's
why I love movies
really
so much.
cool.
By the way, I've never been this quiet on the show.
No, he hasn't.
Ever.
He's
Not
usually
once,
pretty.
Yeah, I just wanted you to know that. But everything you're saying is very interesting to
It
me because
is, yeah.
I don't know a lot about film festivals.
Right.
I've never been a film festival person. Even though I've been a filmmaker for a very, very long time, it's not been my thing, right? So hearing all these ins and outs that you're explaining is kind of interesting to me, especially on the work that goes into
it.
planning this. Like I'm thinking, you said it started in 2017, am I right?
The festival started.
Okay.
Yeah, we had our first festival in 2017. We actually, we were setting it up in 2015. We started in the fall of 2015.
That was my next question. Okay.
Getting all your ducks into place and getting your nonprofit status and finding the right. We did some test marketing on the name even because we wanted it to reflect the area, in addition to what our mission is involving women filmmakers.
How did it get started though? I mean, was it you a part of that conversation being like, man, I want to do a film festival for women? I mean, did it start like that, or how did it begin?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Not exactly. Okay.
Yeah, well, what's up? Tell me,
Yeah,
Cheryl. What's
tell
up?
us what we want to hear.
Well, it wasn't my idea. Let's put it that way. There was a woman who was living here at the time named Polly Miller, and she had been president of the Female Eye Film Festival in Toronto, which has been going for like 20 years.
Okay.
And it does the same thing. It showcases women directors. And she happened to be living here, and she said, Billingham is a really good location for a film festival. Why don't we do something like that? Maybe we can, partner with Female Eye. So she kind of had the idea, and then there was a group of people. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of industry people who live here in Bellingham. They aren't maybe widely known, but they're here.
Mm-hmm.
And
In Washington State, period,
everybody-
I've come to know.
Yeah.
everybody kind of got together, and they said, "Well, that's a good idea." And I said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. When you get this going, let me know, and I'd be interested in helping out." Never dreaming that I'd end up where I was. Subsequently, what happened was she moved back to Toronto for personal reasons, family reasons, and we were already kind of down the road planning this, and we had done a test. We had brought some films from the Female Eye in Toronto during the Pickford has a month-long Festival of Documentaries. You ought to know about that.
I should know about that.
It's a wonderful festival, all of October.
Wow.
And so we brought some films down and we tried it out, and people were so receptive to it.
Okay.
We thought, you know what? This could actually happen. And then we did a little bit exploring. We talked to some other film festivals about how they set it up. Just, but Bellingham's really, as a location, it's ideally, she's right, it was ideally situated for a film festival because we're between two major film centers, Vancouver
Yeah.
and Seattle. And we have plenty of access, an airport, a railroad, freeway, and lots of, hotels for accommodations. You've got all the other recreational assets that Bellingham has to offer to bring people up. So it turned out that that's kind of how it evolved, and everybody said, well, let's go ahead and figure this out. And I happened to be president of the board at the time, and they decided they needed an executive director, and they said, well, why don't you do it?
You got voluntold?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You've been here, bro. You got to do this.
Now, are you
I knew
a
nothing about running a
filmmaker?
film festival.
Are you
Now
a-
I know a lot.
Are you a
There you go.
filmmaker or a film lover? Or both?
No, I was a journalist actually, and
Okay.
a photographer, professional photographer.
Okay.
So, but I have an arts background, and my husband worked in the film industry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I knew my way around the film industry pretty well. And with my arts background, and I've been an arts editor, and a lot of things. So I knew how to talk to directors and people like that. And
You sound like the perfect specimen to me. The perfect
out,
person.
it's like, oh gosh, okay, I guess But we did early on join this Film Festival Alliance, which is the kind of the association, the National Association for Film
Oh.
Festivals.
Okay.
And I got to say, there were so many festivals that were so helpful to us, like Port Townsend, who we've maintained a relationship with, and SIP,
Mm-hmm.
and Post Alley Film
Yeah.
Festival there, and at the time Gig Harbor and Tacoma. I mean, we all know each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's, you talk to each other and hey, do you know such and such, or can you help out with this, or help, so you share ideas, and that's been a tremendous help to us, especially. So,
Well, that's
and
good.
now
So-
we're at the point where we're kind of giving back. I'm on a committee with the Film Festival Alliance on filmmaker relationships, I think it is, or something like that.
Well, that's nice.
Very
See,
cool.
now,
That's
so
very
you've got
cool.
film festivals that actually will talk with other film festival executives who are setting stuff up and share how to do things. I wish filmmakers would do that.
I
Right?
know. Yeah.
You can do that.
We
We
do.
should.
Don't share the secret sauce.
Yeah.
No, we sometimes do, but we always get.
We run
it's
into
always a little
people
weird when
sometimes.
people don't want to share stuff because it's like we're all in this together.
Right.
And just because I tell you this little secret doesn't mean that you're gonna go like.
It's not
And
really
even
a
if you
secret.
do, it's like we're proud of you because
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
helped you get
How'd
there.
you,
Yay.
how'd you pull that off? You have no idea. So I grabbed the hoist and I hooked it up to Aaron's butt crack and I just pulled it up
Pulled
by
it
his
up in
belt.
the air. We got him up
There
there.
you go. Then he was flying.
Yep.
Well, one of the things we do during the festival is we have something called the Directors Networking Brunch.
Oh, awesome.
And we host it. It's only for directors.
Okay.
And it's a brunch on Friday morning, the first morning of the festival, and we did it again this year. We've done it every year
Fun
since we
and
started.
cool. That
And
is so
and
cool.
the idea is the directors can come and they're kind of in a safe space where they can discuss amongst themselves
Cool.
and talk about their experiences and share, stories and exchange information, and that really does set a tone for the rest of the festival, and so that they're really in support of one another. We hear a lot from our directors that we're not like any other festival, and I finally asked some directors. I was down in Los Angeles last spring or something, summer I guess, and I had a brunch. When I go to LA or New York, I have some kind of gathering with our directors and have been there and invite them to a brunch or something. And I finally asked them when we were there, because they were saying this. I said, well, exactly what do you mean by that? And they said, because we don't give any awards in our festival.
You don't? Okay.
No, we don't.
Oh, wow.
I love you, Cheryl.
It's a showcase.
I love that. That's the
yeah.
thing that
Well,
throws me off about
this was
festivals.
a conscious decision made at the outset,
okay.
because we I guess it's a little bit presumptuous on our part, but we felt that if you got into the festival,
That's the
we
award.
wanted that to be kind of considered
love
part of the
that.
award because
See?
frankly, we can't accept that many films right now.
Yeah.
So it's highly competitive. It's gotten to be known in Los Angeles and New York, especially, as a very highly competitive, selective festival for that reason. But what those directors told me when I asked that question about what do you mean by that, they said, well, because you don't give the awards, that puts us all on the same playing field.
Hell yeah.
So we're not in competition with each other. We're in support of each other.
It's support of each
And
other.
they all go to see everybody's films.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
That is the
so
thing.
awesome.
See, I knew it.
love
See,
that.
this is why I've been quiet the whole time. Because I had a feeling about Cheryl talking. She said exactly what I've been saying and bitching about for years about film festivals.
But you
I
take the
can't
film festival
stand
the
it.
guys are in charge of, and there's awards and there's stupid
I
shit.
can't stand the award thing because how do you judge art? I don't understand any of that stuff. I don't
Judging
get
artists,
it.
yeah,
I don't
mostly.
like the fact that this guy gets best picture or this female gets best picture and no one else does. Like what? How is that possible?
It's
I
art.
don't-
It's interpretive.
I don't. Yeah, that throws me off.
And
It-
in a
it
way,
always
I
has.
guess it would be okay
That's
if
beautiful,
sometimes
Cheryl.
it didn't feel like it was like,
Well-
you get a feeling. And when we did our film festival, Aaron, this was a feeling that we had. Like they were geared, there was the people that won, we didn't feel like necessarily it should be us. It wasn't that. It was that the one that won was not the best one. We could have picked several others that were not ours. That should have won
Sure, yeah.
above theirs.
It just steered
above
towards
what won.
somebody they
And so
they
it
knew.
just seemed
Yeah.
really kind of like like they knew someone who knew someone or something. It just seemed like that kind of a thing. And to feel like that is not a good feeling when you're an artist.
Well,
or
that
a
was
filmmaker,
2011, and we
like-
haven't gone to a film
but,
festival since.
Yeah.
but still, it
But
matters.
what's cool,
That's
though,
the
but-
whole award thing, and it does feel like
It throws
that.
you off. But what Cheryl's
Yeah.
saying is like, if you make it, you're a badass, and that's why you're here, and that's
Right.
great.
Right. If you
That's
make a
award
film
enough.
good enough to be in art, then
Then you're
then
good.
it's good.
Beautiful, Cheryl.
Well,
I
and
love
that's
it.
it
an
turns out, I
award.
mean, that we didn't really know that. I think in that making that decision that was at the outset that was going to be a kind of an outcome, but it has and it has worked and we hear that all the time
It makes
from our
sense.
It's
directors.
beautiful.
And so there's no way we're going to change that.
No.
We did do something this year where we did a featured filmmaker. We call it the Shirley Joe Finney featured filmmaker, and we had a woman who was involved with us, recently passed away, but was very involved. I was nationally recognized director, and we wanted to do something to honor her legacy and to also honor one of our own. So we created this featured filmmaker in her name and selected a filmmaker who has been in the festival previously several times and who we have seen grow and develop as a filmmaker. So it's basically to honor her growth and development as a filmmaker.
Well, that's well
and
deserved.
we may not do it every year, but we'll do it when we think it's it's appropriate and that there's
Yeah.
someone who has come along this way that we'd like to say, hey, we're proud of this person and we want you to celebrate with us.
Yeah,
Their
that's cool, and that's well deserved. That's
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Form of
something
a
that
lifetime achievement award.
Clearly,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, clearly they've earned that, and that's different, I think, from all the different levels of awards that they have at festivals. I think it's great. I think that's an awesome idea, and I love that they're a community that comes together and they don't have to compete. So that is, I mean, it matters. It makes a difference between your like not teammates being teammates
Right.
or not family
Exactly.
being family.
Yeah, it's a way to
just
join
that-
together
Yeah, you're
and
not
celebrate
You're not
your
in
films
when you're not in
in a whole.
competition with someone. You can
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, it's like you said, being a filmmaker, it's hard enough getting a film made, right?
yeah.
So you want to share those resources, and if you can connect with each other to help get that accomplished, I mean, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's great. I think it's great.
The only thing I don't like about Cheryl's Film Festival is I can't go there.
Why?
The one
Go,
film
you just
festival-
can't. You just can't
I
enter.
can go. I can't enter any of my movies.
Oh.
Damn it. You're the
No, you
only
can't
person
do
I've
that,
met that I'm
but-
like, I'd go to her film festival. That'd be great. Oh, yeah, I'm not a girl. Damn
But
it.
make no mistake, there were guys that were founders in the festival, still are, on our advisory board, and we have a lot of men that are, involved as volunteers and
That's
on our juries. Our jurors are made up of, all these people that are really all over the world. I mean, we have a large concentration of them in Los Angeles and New York, and all of them pretty much, with maybe 2 exceptions, are in the film industry. But there's men as well as women, you know. So it's kind of like, because we're not a chick flick festival. I mean,
Well, that's good.
I get it.
but listen, you know, the thing about it is, guys are important, because really, honestly, if we don't have the support of the guys, the women, I mean, truly, you need the guys' support too.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a whole thing. I'm just jealous that I can't enter that film festival, because I would. That's it.
And then
That's
you
it.
found a film
Yeah,
festival you
but
like.
Sam, you
have
can.
some woman direct it, and then we could, you know.
And that's what
Well,
we
that's
do.
what I do. I
Yeah.
edit Sam's films for her, so
does
I
edit.
edit those. But I'm also a director and writer, and I make my own stuff. She makes her stuff. Chuck makes his stuff. So we collaborate as a team at CCC Entertainment Group and make all kinds of different movies.
Yeah.
So we all like different things. I like horror action. Sam likes documentaries.
Documentaries.
Chuck likes horror action. Now he's doing a faith-based film. So, you know, we do stuff.
do all
You
kinds
know
of stuff.
about Bleeding Ham?
Bleeding Ham.
What's Bleeding Ham?
Oh yeah, that's the one that when we were filming our last episode, when Michelle had to take off to go to Bleeding
Oh,
Ham.
yeah. That's right. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I
Yeah,
do.
it
Our-
happens over at Halloween.
Mhm.
Here,
Oh,
a
yeah.
guy named Gary Washington has
Yes.
run it, and it's a horror film festival. I can hardly go. I can't.
You can't
Honestly,
take
I
it.
can't see some of that stuff. But I mean, they have a lot of people come. It's just a horror film festival, and
That's
it's
cool, too.
great fun for everybody.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can do that.
Well,
I'm gonna
thank
have
you,
to.
Cheryl.
Our makeup team
I
has-
But see, they
yeah.
probably
The
give
last few
awards
years.
and stuff, and I don't want awards. I just want to go to one where they don't give awards, and they celebrate making movies together. So
Yeah, so and
I
that's-
appreciate you trying to get me somewhere else.
Aaron,
but
that's
it's
a
fine.
very good thing that you just said.
What?
That was a very good thing you just said.
What's that?
Celebrating making movies together.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And when you
That's
don't
the
have
whole point.
awards, that's what you do.
That's what she's
you
doing.
celebrate making movies together.
Damn right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you're
that's-
successful.
We
Cheryl.
can't
I knew
afford
it.
the trophies because we just started this festival. So in 2017, you had a brilliant business plan that just really paid off for you.
It's brilliant. Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
I think it's great.
Yeah, and no wonder you're such a hot commodity when for filmmakers out there wanting to be in it, because it makes sense.
It does.
I know that a lot of filmmakers probably feel like I do. They just don't say it because they just do the norm. I always go outside of the norm and have to say something about it. But because that's the way it is. I want to be an award-winning filmmaker. They just kind of go with it. Well, where'd you go to get that award? You know what I mean? Like, what, Bodunk's Film Festival in Idaho? I mean, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
Well,
Anyway,
they can get their awards somewhere else. That's not what we do.
badass. See,
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
her.
that.
I
We
love
have-
her.
We love
we
you.
have other benefits, like working together later and
Yeah.
staying in
Yes.
touch with each other and
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, just the
whole
camaraderie. It's amazing.
It's amazing,
Like,
Cheryl. Good for you.
It literally makes me
Gives you
sad
goosebumps.
that I didn't do that
Yeah.
instead of what I did. Was
Well, see, we didn't know.
we
That's the
didn't
thing.
know.
See?
We know now.
It's Cheryl's fault.
There's
She didn't
always
get on the
next
show
year.
sooner. It's her fault. She should have been on here about 6 months ago.
It's not
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
fault.
Then you could have got it, because we just put Sam's movie in distribution. It's
We
already
did,
out.
Yeah.
Damn
Well,
it. And
are
you-
you doing features or are you doing
I do features. Yeah.
features?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What's
This
next year?
is. She made 2. She made the Giant Pacific Octopus and now Will and Away, and she's rolling. She's rolling.
All
It's cool.
right.
Yeah.
I got too.
Yeah.
But when I do my third, I'm gonna think about
Yes.
your festival.
It's Cascadia.
When is your submission deadline, Cheryl?
Yeah. When's that happen?
Yeah.
Well, our submissions for short films will open in August, mid-August, and then it runs through I think it's mid to late November, and then that's at least that's what we did last year, and I will probably be much the same. And the features is pretty much similar, although we kind of start looking for the features a little bit later because of the way features are released and,
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
The woman, our program director, Claudia Puig, also programs for Santa Barbara International Film Festival. So she's watching all of those films as well and looking for ours as she's looking for the others. So, it's kind of a process. We
That's a
don't
big
usually
job.
know our features until the end of February.
Oh, okay.
This year, even a little later than that, early March, but which is a little too cutting it a little too close. A little bit.
A little bit.
What's the
Yeah,
best
a
way
little
for?
bit.
What's
but
the best way?
our
For,
honored guest this year, that was crazy too because
Oh my gosh, yes. We were
that
yeah.
was very last minute. We had invited Catherine to come up
Yeah.
much before she turned around, but her film got postponed, and all of a sudden we're about to announce our official selections, and I get an email from her saying, "If you still want me to come."
That's so cool.
And I said, yeah.
And she directed Twilight and like a bunch of other
Yeah, she's big time.
great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So how
she
cool.
did an awesome program for us. We usually typically with our honored guests we'll do a interview, with them, and then we'll show their film.
Yeah.
But she had a program, a prepared 90-minute program that it's really called Fix It in Prep, which is actually more like a master class.
Okay.
Cool.
And it was knock your socks off. Everybody was crazy about it that saw this program, and she just went through all the different elements, colorization of your film, character development,
That's so cool.
everything, motion, how to put motion in your movie,
Wow.
everything, and using examples from her own films as to how
Wow.
she did it.
Wow.
And for the people who were the filmmakers in the audience, they really, it truly was like a master class. They
got a lot out of it, I bet. Yeah.
And for the people who knew nothing about making movies, I can't tell you how many people came out of there and said, I had no idea, that was amazing. And,
How cool.
she did,
What a great
scene
guest.
breakdowns and all sorts of stuff. And
That's
it
awesome.
was phenomenal. It
Yeah.
really was. She
That
can't
is-
say enough about that.
That is really cool. What a great guest to have.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
waiting. I can't wait to put out our class though, our master class of Fix It and Post. It's gonna be great. Just wait. Yeah.
Fix it
Yep,
in post
we'll
class.
fix it in post.
We'll just fix it in post.
Cheryl, man, that's great stuff.
I mean, that was our master class right there. We'll fix it in post.
It's silly though, because sometimes you can. That's what's so funny about it. You can fix it, and you're just like, I got lucky, I guess. I don't know.
No, you get lucky
Cost you a little
sometimes,
more,
but
Yeah. I was gonna ask you a question, personal, Cheryl, if you don't mind. It's a personal. What do you?
It is a talk show, so
Yeah. What do you get out of this? What's driven you to keep doing this for all these years, and why? I mean, you're not a filmmaker. I could see if you were a filmmaker, you're making movies. You're a writer. You're a photographer. Your husband was a filmmaker. I get that, but that's a lot of work. So what?
It's a lot of work, yeah.
What drives you?
What makes it worth it for
I
you?
can't say it's the pay.
I kind of figured.
We didn't think so.
I kind of figured somebody
well-
usually does something for that long because they love it. So
No, I'll tell you what really keeps me going. I mean, it's a lot of work. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding you.
Yeah.
When I agreed to do this, I had no idea. I thought it was like, I could do it during my slow time of the year, but no, it's a full-time job.
mm-hmm.
And as soon as you finish one, I have about a month that I've got a little bit of downtime, but then you start again.
It's just
Start
constant,
prepping for the next
yeah.
year.
It's like, putting a film together, really. I mean,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Way.
But what's most gratifying, and I guess why I'm doing it primarily, because I said I would never start another organization. I started a writers association in Los Angeles several years ago that's still going. I thought, that's it, never doing that again. But the difference this time really is there's hardly, I'm not kidding you, there's hardly a day goes by that I don't hear from some woman filmmaker from somewhere in the world thanking us for what we're doing. I mean, they were thanking us before we even had our first festival.
Wow.
And I said, well, you might kind of want to wait because it might not happen. But just the idea, and honest to God, that's really it. The appreciation and everything that we hear back from all the women who come here, but even the women who don't get here, or the ones who submit and don't get accepted, are thanking us for just what we're doing and trying to make that difference. I mean, it's a small difference, because the
It's a
inequities
huge difference.
exist, right?
Don't downplay it. It's a huge difference.
It's big time. It's big time.
It's huge.
Well, it's it's something. I mean, it's moving the needle a little bit. We like to think, and that's the whole. That's really, honestly, what keeps me going. Just knowing that there's that's happening out there.
Yeah, you're connecting with these filmmakers.
But yeah,
What you're doing.
you're making them.
So it's not just like you're not just doing like just a film festival. There's more to it than what just showing movies.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had someone that's had multiple times they've put their film in the festival that you had to reject? Or you rejected for some reason, multiple people that have, or the same person that's got to put a movie in every year but hasn't made it yet?
I think we have. I know we've had people who have been here before who have submitted again a couple of times and didn't necessarily get in.
I was going to ask you then.
It's always a little heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
I've got fabulous screeners, and I don't get in their way. We do it. I think we may do it a little differently than some festivals. I mean, every short film that comes into us is assigned to 3 jurors, and we try to make it so that one is located nationally somewhere, one is located regionally, one is located internationally. It doesn't always work out that way, because we want that international perspective, not just Bellingham perspective.
Right.
And that's something we've been able to achieve. But I go back and I read sometimes their comments. I never look at it prior to the selections, but sometimes I'll go back and I'll read their comments later. And man, they are tough. I mean, seriously, I'm going, whoa, really? But they're really good. But I think that's what makes. I mean, and they're not being destructive in that way. I mean,
Sure.
They're just looking at it, and they have criteria which we give them to judge the films by, and these people know film, and they're just saying, well, this was great, but the story fell apart, or the sound was awful, or it didn't flow together, or whatever it is.
Do you do that? Do you give
Yeah.
that constructive criticism when you say no to someone? Do you give
No.
them feedback? No, or not at all?
Never. And the reason we don't
okay.
is because I want those. I had to actually explain this to somebody today. We want those people to be as frank and candid as possible when they're looking at the films and in doing their deliberating, because if those films do move on to the final selection committee, and the final selection committee is on the fence about a film and they can't decide, well, why would this have gotten in? Sometimes they'll go back to look at those comments,
Those notes.
Oh.
and that will help them.
Yeah.
But we never give them to the filmmakers because, it's kind of
It's a
just
shitty thing to do.
I want them to be candid and open, and I'm afraid if we do that, then they're going to start, measuring their comments and what if they say this or that,
Yeah. You tell a filmmaker that something's wrong with their movie, next thing you know, they're blasting you online.
Yeah, I mean, I was a critic. I was a theater critic for a number of years, and so I know how that is, and it's kind of like you can get constructive criticism from somewhere else, but I don't care to share that because
Good for you.
I do want them to be able to be completely honest with us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I definitely understand
I guess my question too was a follow-up to the one I asked you about, someone who's submitting their film multiple times. Do you ever run across a name that you've seen or seen pieces of the movie, and then you end up you're rooting for them to come back with their next film? Like, you want them to make it.
You're like, you're almost there.
Come on, don't quit now. Like, do you ever get that feeling? Because if I was running a film festival, I would feel that way. If I saw the same person submitting a film to our festival, and I see it getting better every year, and I'm like, come on, dude, don't quit. Don't quit
don't
yet,
stop.
bro.
Right. Yes, and I have, upon very rare occasion, written to a couple of filmmakers
Oh, good.
who were maybe not accepted, who maybe got to the final round not accepted, and say, look, we can tell you can direct. We can tell from your film that you know how to direct. There was something else about the film that just did not work, that it didn't get in the festival. And we offer as much encouragement as we can. I mean, if somebody writes to us, and I had that happen this year with a filmmaker who had been in the festival last year, the year before, and she wanted to submit. I said, yeah, by all means, submit your film, and it didn't get in. And I took the time to write her and say, hey, it didn't make it this year, but come back, because we know that you can do it.
Yeah, that's badass. I love it.
You just shouldn't. It's a tough business. I mean, it's a tough business. So if you can't, I mean, I know that, having been a writer too. I used to save a folder full of rejection slips, right?
Absolutely.
So you can't take it personally. I mean, although you do, because it is, like anything, you create a piece of art, whether it's writing or film or music or whatever. It's highly personal. So it's really hard when somebody says, "Oh, I didn't like that."
Right.
for
Yeah, it is.
whatever reason.
It is.
But if that stops you, then you got to find a different business.
Damn right you do. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. See, I knew she'd give me the answer I was looking for. Thank you. Oh, man. All right.
Doesn't make it any easier sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Sam, you're
No.
crying. Why are you crying?
I'm bawling because
She got
everything
you?
that she's saying is like, I'm sorry.
She got you.
I'm a super emotional person. I'm sorry.
No, you
But
touched
yeah,
her.
you got me. You
Yeah.
definitely got me because you're a writer. I'm also a writer. That's my first love.
yeah,
But I'm terrified to put my work out there because I don't take rejection very well, and I
Yeah.
gave it to a few people, and some of the stuff that they said, it really hurt me because it is so personal. So and one of them was my own grandfather, and he just said it's so dark, and like I don't feel like anyone's gonna understand this. It's so dark, and that hurt my feelings like so much because I felt like I was sharing my soul with the world, and for my own grandfather to say that, I was like hurt by that. And so
but you don't write in his generation.
and no, I don't, but just don't want to disappoint anybody with my art. But that's the hard thing about art and judging art is that it's hard to judge art because not everyone's art is for everyone.
Right.
Certain
Right.
art is for certain people, and that's why I just feel like you shouldn't criticize art, really. You should just move on. If it's not for you, that doesn't mean it's bad art.
No.
It just means it's not for you, so move along. Go to find art that is for you.
Mm-hmm.
But don't say something bad about someone's art because it is so deep and so personal, so I always have a hard time with that because I don't take that very well. I
it's
guess.
also
because-
about building trust. Right?
It is, yes.
I mean, I have
Yeah.
a small group of friends here who are also writers, and we get together every now and then, and a couple of them are poets and whatnot. But I completely trust them. So if I have something I need to go over with them or something, I will share with them and ask for their opinion. But it's a certain level of trust that you have to build
Yeah.
where you feel secure, because as an artist, I mean, artists are always insecure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You want
right.
that approval.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you're really hoping for, and a lot of times, and so it's tough when
It is.
when that doesn't happen, and I know that I've been through that. I've gotten that.
But it's a double-edged sword because you're asking for someone's opinion. Like I gave my poetry book, because I write poetry, to my grandfather, and I asked for his opinion. But then when I got it, I was so sad and heartbroken because of what he said.
Because in your brain, you're thinking he's an
And I
ace
was
in the
like-
hole.
And I couldn't say anything because I asked for his opinion.
Yeah.
So, but
Because it's your grandpa. He's supposed to support you no matter what, even if he doesn't like it.
You're supposed to like it even though you don't like it.
And unfortunately, he was honest with you about his opinion of
No,
it.
he was.
Correct, he
And
was.
you know what? I can't knock him for that, and I don't knock him for that. It's my own personal being unable to take the criticism. But at the same time, it is so deep and personal that you do have to be careful. I mean, you do.
Yeah,
And-
I heard a podcast by somebody else the other day. I can't remember who now, and the guest was talking about, and I don't exactly remember the catchwords she used, but it was about their perspective, and that you have to realize it's their frame of reference.
Yes.
Right.
So if you take it in the context that, it's their frame of reference, like, okay, his generation,
Right.
maybe, that's where his frame of reference is.
Exactly.
And I really needed to go there rather than
Yeah.
just being
And take it so
butthurt
personally.
by
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but-
Is he a writer at all?
No.
No, he's a photographer like you.
He's a photographer.
Yeah.
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 Photographer.
So he's got the art eye.
He's had plenty of criticism, I'm sure, himself.
Well, he's a politician, so he's had plenty
Yeah.
of criticism.
Yeah, right.
But here's the thing. He loves your movies, though, right?
He does.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And it wasn't that he didn't like it. It
No.
was that I was just so hurt by the comment. I was just like, what? Dark? Like, yeah, it's dark, but it's personal.
But that was also your grandpa. So he's like, it's so dark. Are you okay?
Exactly. There's a personal
of,
connection
yeah.
there. That's a hard one to go by.
There's a lot to it, and
Yeah.
I really just took it deeper than maybe I should have, but
Yeah.
the point is still there. I mean, it still matters, and I do still feel like, and I try not to judge people on their art in that way. If I like it, I will definitely make a point to tell them I love it, and I love it. It means something to me. It touched me in this way or that way. But when I don't like it, I just move on, because I just don't feel like that's important. When it comes to art,
Mhm.
the negative criticism isn't important, really. I mean, because people already know what they're making their art out of their heart and their soul and everything. There is no wrong way to do that.
No.
So there is no
You have to
criticism.
decide for yourself what's important, and it's not always. It's not always to say that somebody is offering you their opinion or something that you shouldn't, pay attention, because sometimes they are right. I mean, sometimes you're so close to it that you don't see, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yes.
That happens. It happens to all of us.
Yes.
And you don't. It's like your baby. You don't want to. Catherine Hardwicke had a great quote that we used about, if a scene doesn't advance the character, it doesn't advance the story, and I forget what the third thing is, you need to throw it in the trash. That's a lot easier said than done.
Right.
It is.
It took me 3 weeks to write this fucking character.
That's the best scene I ever wrote.
Right. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
We did this year for the first year. This was always kind of the grand plan, but we just never had the person power to do it. We put together an art exhibit of Pacific Northwest women artists in conjunction with the festival.
I love it.
And it's still running until the end of May here in the Dakota Art Gallery. And it was curated or juried actually by a woman who is a professional curator, used to be at the Whatcom Museum of Art, but she was at the Queens Museum of Art in New York before she came here.
Oh, cool.
And put out a call and allowed people to submit. We had like 500 pieces of artwork that were submitted.
Wow.
And we selected 35.
Oh, wow.
My gosh, how hard.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I mean, she did. Can you imagine? I mean, and it's a very high quality show. Oh my gosh. The gallery has told us they've had more traffic on this show than they've ever had for any show they've ever had there.
Wow.
And it's all to celebrate women artists. And he wants to do it again next year, the gallery owner, so we're probably going to do it again next year. As an expansion of the festival to celebrate women working in other media.
That's great.
For all those other, however many it is, artists that weren't selected for that. I mean, that's really awful. I mean, you feel terrible.
I know. That's why I could never be one of those people who selects them, because I'd be like, all of them in. They're all because I feel like everyone's got their certain way and whatever makes them feel good. And sometimes art really is person to person. Like it matters, and so it's so hard to judge what's good or better than something else because it's personal.
Well, see, this is
visual artists, especially.
Yes, exactly.
And this is why I got respect a lot for like your film festival, Cheryl, because you've set this up in a way, like with the no awards thing and everything, and they're very selective with their choices. There's a reason why I don't feel like I could submit a film I do to Cannes. I don't feel like I'm at that level yet, if that makes sense, right? So I don't expect to. I'm not that delusional. I'm a delusional person. I'm a filmmaker, obviously, but I'm not.
We're all crazy.
I know we're not on that level yet because we haven't got the budgets. We don't have these kind of named people, whatever it is, all the stuff. But I wouldn't submit to those. And I see people that are making movies on our level that do, and I'm like, in my brain, I can't help but go, "What the hell are you doing? You're wasting your time." That's it. But I don't say anything because that's what they want to do. They want to give it a shot. They don't know for sure, and I get it. But I really enjoy the fact that you've set your festival up in the way where, people know. Like I think they make it very clear. Some of these bigger film festivals that have this kind of prestige, I want to say, where they're respected in that manner, where when you make something of quality, you got a shot. And if you make it, you got a better shot of being successful with that film. I like that philosophy. And I think that if everybody did their festivals that way, I think it would help so many more filmmakers. I really do, because I think they would push themselves. If they really want to get to Cannes or if a woman filmmaker wants to get to Cascadia, they would put that effort in, if that makes sense, to know when they submit this, they really believe it's good enough to get the fuck in there.
They're making it a goal.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that.
I mean, we appreciate that, and honestly, we respect all the filmmakers who submit to us, regardless of whether they get in, because we know how hard it is to make a movie.
Yes.
It's hard, it's hard. You got to get the money, you got to get the actors, you got to get everything to make it work. It's not easy, and just the doing of it is in itself should be just that they finish the damn thing. It's like, wow, yeah, you made a movie? That is pretty
phenomenal.
It's an amazing feat.
amazing.
It's an
It is
amazing feat.
amazing.
But it's like that quote. I think it's a Beckett quote. It says, "Fail, try again, fail better."
Yeah.
Right?
I love
Yes,
that.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
You know, so there's something to be learned for if you're not. I mean, I would say it's a failure, but if you're not accepted, okay, so all right, let's go do it again because
Do it better the next
Well,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just goes along with just living everyday life. That I live by that philosophy. Just if you're not learning something every day, then you're not growing and you're not. Well, I mean, what's life worth if you're not learning something every single day of your life? You grow. And
Or
you
if you're not
learn
learning
and-
from your failure, you learn more from
Exactly,
failure.
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. So it's great. It's great that you do that, and you're encouraging people to push themselves to be better filmmakers and better artists. And I think that's great.
It's
I love
fantastic.
everything about it.
Yeah.
But
I actually learned a lot
We try to
today.
be. I mean, I don't know if we're always successful with everybody or not, but honestly, we try hard. And like I said, we respect our filmmakers. If you could ask any one of our filmmakers who's ever been here, and even those who haven't. I mean, we get emails from people saying, "Oh, wow," you know, and
great.
and they said you respect what we're doing, and that means a lot.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. It's great. It's great. Your work
I
is
gotta respect you
important.
guys for what you're doing today on the
Thank you.
podcast.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We feel the same way about you. What you're
Yeah.
doing is important for artists, and keep doing it and don't stop. And
But understand, I'm not the only one. There's an
no, of course not. Yeah, of course.
You're the quarterback, though.
Yeah.
You got the. You got it. You got it.
a large part of it. but,
Yeah.
you know, I really do have a great group of people, and from the very beginning. And honestly, if we hadn't had them, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have as quickly as we have.
I believe you. I believe you.
There's a lot of dedicated people. That,
Well, here you are giving credit away when we're trying to give you credit.
Sounds a lot like
Well, no,
Sam. Hey, Chuck.
Sounds a lot like Sam.
It does sound a little like Sam.
It's no one-man show.
I mean, I do it too. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam does it too.
Nothing is a one-man show.
Chuck and I
we all
don't.
work.
We brag about what we do.
Oh yeah, those guys are one-man shows. Whatever, guys.
No,
No,
Cheryl, you're
Cheryl, you've been amazing.
fantastic. I actually learned something today
I
about film
learned a
festivals.
lot.
You gave
Yeah,
Aaron an excitement about film festival.
You know, you did. If you listen to our show, we've done 200. What? This is 209.
10?
Probably
209, I think.
209.
209 episodes of this show in the last 4.5 years, and I've been anti-film festival the entire
Yeah.
time until I met
Yes,
you,
Aw,
and I actually
what?
mean that. I actually mean that
What?
because I like her setup. I like her delivery. I like why she's doing it. It's not about.
Aaron, the most important thing is you can't get in.
No, I know that's the shitty part about it, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to focus on the positive here because that's new for me too, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I just
But
think it's great.
There are plenty of good festivals out there.
Yeah.
There are, and I think the ones that are so hard to get into are those ones because they're very selective about their choices. They've got stuff going on. I think a lot of these things, it feels like a money grab to me, if you know what I'm saying, Cheryl.
Yes, right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just like, ugh. You know, but I don't feel that way with you. I know that
No.
for
We're
a fact.
definitely not a money grab.
No.
Yes, I know you're not.
Yeah,
I know you're
no,
not.
I
You're not
mean,
selling the
no.
bling. She's not going, hey, come over here. I'll give
Well,
you
we
the.
need
These awards,
you
I'll
know,
give you this.
Here's your what your I can't even think of an award, stupid award.
I mean, if you want to,
but there's so many dumb ones.
We're not going to turn it away, but
Yeah.
I don't blame you either. I wouldn't.
I mean, none of us would.
no.
But
But
that's
go
beside
go
the
see
point.
some of the movies this next. We got 10 days.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us
Oh,
how to
yeah.
do that.
Yes,
Tell
please
us how to
pitch
do
that before we end the show. Please. How do we
Okay,
see
so
that?
the online version of the festival opens tomorrow, May 2nd, and runs through the 12th. And all you have to do is go to our website, CascadiaFilmFest.org, click on Buy Passes, and there's an online pass, or you can go buy individual tickets to the film programs you want to see. But there's some terrific films like Love Letters we gave the world premiere to for International Women's Day. And it's about a woman that grew up in Bellingham who is recognized nationally as a national gender studies and feminist scholar. Lives in New York, and
wow.
it's about her and her partner. It's an amazing film, and there's just a lot of really good films. That Preconceived I mentioned to you earlier, especially now with what's happening nationally.
Yes, yeah.
It's a film that everyone needs to see.
Awesome.
Right on.
Awesome. So you
I
go
hope-
onto the website and you
Go
get
buy
a
your
pass,
pass and
or
you
you buy
start watching
specific
some stuff.
movie that you want to see, and that's how you do it.
Awesome.
It's
Okay.
that simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make sure to get in the show notes for everybody
Yeah,
too.
we will.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We will. And we'll get this out so that people can actually go and do that.
Yeah,
And
we'll
they
get
got
on it
time
right
to do
away.
it, yeah.
That'll be my job, Cheryl, by the way.
Thank you guys, and come up next year and see for yourself what it looks like.
Love to.
Absolutely.
Or maybe we'll come to Bleedingham and drag you over there and make you watch.
Chuck, why don't you go ahead and close the show out?
I like those people, but I can't do that.
Cheryl, thank you for joining us down Around the Reel. Thank you for hanging out for a conversation about all things creative. And more importantly, even though we were talking about film festivals, I realized something about you that you probably didn't realize that you shared with everybody. And that is, what is Cheryl's love language? Ladies and gentlemen, it is words of affirmation, because that is what drives this woman to do the amazing things that she does for this film festival. It's what keeps her going. It is what keeps her happy. So hopefully you get your words of affirmation from everyone in your life, and everything continues to be prosperous for you. We will definitely come check out your film festival. And if I can get Sam to turn something around before fucking August, maybe we can actually get something into the film festival for her through you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And everybody out there, remember,
Thank
think
you
hard,
guys.
because you're thinking anyway.
Nice to talk to all of you.
You
You
too.
too. It's been awesome.
We'll see everybody later.
Keep in touch.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
Will. Bye.
Bye-bye.
For those of you that want to be a guest on Around the Reel, please email Sam at aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
Not Messenger. Do not message Aaron on Messenger, because then he has to send you a message that says email Sam at aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com.
How come they can't just message me again?
Because nobody wants to fucking talk to you.
Can anybody reach out? That's an artist, filmmaker, actor?
If you're an artist of any kind, we want to hear from you.
But we are going to vet the crap out of you.
We don't care if you make millions of dollars in Hollywood or if you're just beginning your career in the art industry. We don't care. So everybody that wants to be on Around the Reel, yes, we want you.
That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com.